Hello, everybody. The University of Connecticut is one of the highest revenue collecting athletic departments outside the Power 5 schools. UConn ranks 46th on the list for 230 public colleges and universities in Division I athletics from the years 2015 through 2016. In addition, it was found in 2015 that the athletic department had a rather large subsidization of 38.9%, and subsidies for the department have increased from $3.5 million in 2005 to a whopping $31 million in 2017. Now, overall at UConn, the men's basketball and football teams do in fact earn a higher profit than the women's basketball team. And it can be argued that the women's basketball team at UConn was the only women's program in the Final Four last year to turn a profit at all. Now, from Geno's perspective, it is very easy to see how the spending on women's sports is unfair in the current landscape of collegiate athletics. Due to the largely higher revenue stream for men's sports, they tend to get more spending from their respective schools, and this includes the University of Connecticut. Now, this seems to be a good point when you factor in the comparative success of both men and women's sports together, but it is easy to see why the relative spending is unfair. In women's basketball, the team has reached milestone goals that no other team in sports history has even come anywhere close to achieving, whether it's men's basketball or women's basketball or any sports team for that matter. The UConn women's basketball team has won a record 11 NCAA Division I national championships, and just last season took home their 111th consecutive win. In addition, the women's basketball team had an HBO documentary series following them through their journey into the 2017 Final Four, and this documentary, of course, brought about great publicity and exposure for the women's team, and also shined a spotlight on UConn's successful athletic department. Now, the UConn women's basketball team is the only basketball team to consistently turn a profit every single season. Every other women's basketball team in the nation loses on average $997,000 every season. This can be attributed to a lack of attendance at different schools for their home games. The women Huskies tend to bring home a heavier attendance at every single game, more than the average basketball team, because of their continued success and dedicated fans. Much of this success can be attributed to Geno coaching ability and extensive knowledge of the game. He would love to see more money allocated towards women's sports because he can put his argument into perspective and continue to bring home more championships for the school. Now, while football players play a huge part in the disparity between scholarships given out to men and women, the amount of benefits to every team at the school should be based off their success in that particular season. If they do well, they should be treated and rewarded accordingly. Simply put, the argument that revenue and attendance is more important to a school than publicity and success is bogus and, in fact, a null argument altogether. Just because a specific team carries a higher profit margin than the next does not mean that school gets the right to treat the more successful women's team poorly. Now, with that said, the UConn women's basketball team should receive additional funding from the school in order to keep the success coming in the upcoming seasons. Becoming the best at a sport is one thing, but staying the best at that sport is a whole different challenge within itself. With other schools coming for UConn's reputation, the additional funding will be allocated to better coaching and recruitment. The hardest part about staying the best in any college sport is the constant revolution of players that are enrolling and graduating from the school. So with that additional funding, there should be a bigger emphasis on staying at the top. From Geno perspective, there should not be a decrease in endowment in men's sports, but an increase in funding for successful teams. Thank you very much, everyone. Go Huskies.